And this is how the fuck you do this. This show is immediately elite just for this alone.
This is Zoe Kravitz's mom, Lisa Bonet. Her mom is white, her dad is black. Here's Lenny Kravitz. His mom is black and his dad is white.
They could have easily just written him out of the show, but they didn't do that and they respected his decisions. And they had Vanya transition with him.
So if Zoe's mom is half black, right? And so is her dad, right? Zoe has 1/4 black from her dad, but also 1/4 black from her mom.
In this video, we are going to discuss cultural appropriation and identity politics in film and TV. So what is cultural appropriation and identity politics? Cultural appropriation is when one takes or adopts cultural elements of a minority group and uses it in a disrespectful or stereotypical way. And identity politics, which could include gender, race, religion, social class, etc. It normally centers around the lived experiences of those facing oppression or exploitation. So why do we care about this? When watching films or TV, we take in the knowledge. This medium can reflect how our society sees things or subjects that we can take into our own opinion or agree. Showing accurate representation of minority groups can help us understand one another and teach us stories of others. So now, let's dive into the history of identity politics and cultural appropriation in film and TV.
Almost 30 years after the first ever television drama was broadcast, Royal Force Airman turned actor Cyril Grant became the first black person to be featured regularly on television in the United Kingdom when he starred in the BBC's Man from the Sun. The show depicts a group of West Indians as they settle in London, face prejudice from the white population, and attempt to integrate themselves into the existing black community. But while Man from the Sun showed how television could reflect the lives of black people in the UK, the black and white minstrel show was evidence of how far television still had to go.
The first TV movie to show homosexuality in a positive light was aired in prime time. Welcome to 1972. Just 3 years after the Stonewall riots, that William Link and Richard Levinson wrote That Certain Summer. The movie tells a story of Doug Salter and Gary McLean. When Doug's son comes to visit him, he finds evidence of his father's relationship with Gary, and so the two are forced into this open and honest conversation about homosexuality. But television studios were understandably cautious about buying such a controversial script. NBC wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
It turned out to be a very prominent and quite a powerful. And you know, in those days, you have to time yourself. In those days, back then, homosexuality was not talked about. I mean, you didn't listen today. It's no, you did not talk about it. Quiet. And this was a big thing for them to put on.
In Britain alone, there are at least 1 million men and 1 million women who are homosexual. Now, for some reason, the law takes an entirely different attitude toward the two sexes in this matter. Between women, homosexuality is perfectly legal, but between men, it's a crime, rendering the offender liable to several years of imprisonment. There are only half a dozen countries in the world in which it is a crime, but for some reason, Britain is one of them.
Looking back into TV and film, you can see that this reflects what the society thoughts were about homosexuality and being black. I now want to have a look into a case study of Disney, one of the most popular animation studios. Since starting in 1923, Disney has had their ups and downs with cultural appropriation and identity politics. With the most recent years, they have changed their views and started using these in a positive light. However, this hasn't always been the case for Disney. Disney has faced accusations of whitewashing history, with several lawsuits and boycottings of the films have been introduced since the last 10 years. For example, Peter Pan shows Native Americans as quote-unquote other beings through broken English and stereotypes such as feathers, teepees, and peace pipes. An even worse example is Saludos Amigos. In the 1940s, Disney marketed this film as a goodwill between the US citizens and Latin Americans. They portrayed the Latin Americans as exotic, idealistic, and also sexualized. This is seen in a scene where Donald is chasing Latin American women on the beach. Characters are also seen jumping out of piñatas and shooting guns. In this film, one controversial scene even made an Argentinian artist who was brought in to be a consultant asked for his name to be removed off the film. A more recent scandal in 2016 was a Halloween costume based off a Polynesian character, Moe from Moana. This Halloween costume had brown skins on the sleeves and leggings with traditional Polynesian tattoos all over. The most recent scandal happened in 2017 about the film Coco. The start of the production was looking good. The director, who was white and had no film connections to the culture, decided to take a trip to Mexico with the researching team. They visited families, visited cemeteries, and was learning for over 6 years, which was the longest research they did in any Pixar or Disney film. However, problems arose in 2013 before production was made. The company tried to trademark a saying which meant Day of the Dead in Mexican. This was controversial, seeing as it was uniquely Mexican/Mexican American. This was originally in Disney saying to protect the film. However, they tried to trademark this for merchandise, which was meant to be food, clothing, jewelry, etc. This was to save their maximum earnings. Luckily, this didn't go through. The Mexican community was outraged, seeing as this was a holiday about honouring, cherishing, and loving deceased family members or loved ones. The idea that this holiday would be reduced into a product or service by Disney to protect it from other companies was absurd. Essentially, Disney would have owned the rights to the holiday itself. Disney has taken steps for the better. It may be slow, but better. The most recent film, Turning Red, was directed by a Chinese woman. This was great representation of feminism and showing that women can be in charge of roles. However, even with this, there was backlash about the little of black crew members and the portrayal of black characters. And with that, we finish with Disney. I now want to talk about the new day and age of film and television. Nowadays, corporations commonly exploit trendy or aesthetic elements in culture and identity that appeals to a larger audience. We have had a burst of cultural, feminist, and queer films. I leave with a question. Are we heading in the right direction, or are we masking exploitation behind subjects which are trendy?
I'm not gay, and I am certainly not sinful. What I am is a woman, mother.
And I think I'm bisexual.
I'm trans.
I'm gay.
I'm bisexual.
I'm gay.
I think I'm asexual.
I think the real question is, why are we still reading this book? It's written by some rich white guy, about some rich white guy. And I guess we're supposed to feel bad for him because he's obsessed with the only girl he can have. I mean, if the point is to learn about the American dream, we should be reading about immigrants or the working class or black mothers or at least someone who doesn't already have a mansion.
My hair is not a wig. It's not nappy. It's thick, curly, and it's who I am. And no, you cannot touch it.
We're here to celebrate the end of the mediocre white dude's chokehold on success. Yeah! Yeah, Helen, I see you!
You are beautiful, embrace it. You are intelligent, embrace it. You are powerful, embrace it. Thank you.
Her career has continued to blossom. She became the 5th ever woman and only non-white person, black or otherwise, to give the McTaggart Lecture at the Edinburgh TV Festival.
As a creative, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to tell you a story.
I believe we need more cultured and unique artists in film production and the crew to give more of an accuracy in our films and diversity. We have taken steps from our past. However, I still think there are others cashing in on our lives, our stories, with no accuracy or relevance to them. We have made it a long, long way. This was my video essay on cultural appropriation and identity politics. Thank you.